Mark 10, 35 through 45. James and John, sons of Zebedee, came forward to him and said to him, "Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you." And he said to them, "What is it you want me to do for you?" They said to him, "Grant us to sit, one at your right hand, one at your left, in your glory." But Jesus said to them, "You don't know what you're asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, or be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with?" They replied, "We are able." Then Jesus said to them, "The cup that I drink, you will drink. And with the baptism with which I am baptized, you will be baptized. But to sit at my right hand or my left is not mine to grant. It is for those for whom it has been prepared." Now when the 10 heard this, they began to be angry with James and John. So Jesus called them and said to them, "You know that among the Gentiles, those whom they recognize as their rulers lord it over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. But it is not so among you. Whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant. And who wishes to be first among you must be slave of all. For the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of the Lord lives forever. And this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Over and over again. Yes, over and over again. You're not imagining things. We are still hearing about that whole last will be first thing. Put the first last thing. Put yourself last because the last will be first. Seems like he's just hitting his disciples over the head with it. Round after round. I mean, come on. We get it already. We get it. For a while now, Jesus, he's been talking about how he's going to have to end up being killed. And for a while now, he's been telling us the same message over and over and over and over and over in different ways. His disciples were arguing over who's the best among them. Jesus says, the last will be first. Some other guy is casting out demons. Jesus says, the last will be first. And thinking about how our behavior might impact a child. Jesus says, the last will be first. Christians with seasoning the salt of the earth are setting an example for us daily as they are putting the last first in this world. Well, Jesus, what about divorce? Put the last first, he says. What are those children doing bothering Jesus? Hogging all his attention. Put the last first, Jesus says. Well, what about me? I've been a faithful believer all of my life. What do I got to do to make sure I get to heaven? Put the last first, Jesus says. And then for a third time, just before this passage we just read, Jesus explains for a third time that he's going to be tortured, killed, and be risen from the dead. Now, if you haven't gathered the clue yet, this teaching he's going over and over and over again is tied together intimately with the cross and the empty tomb. You could say it's kind of important. Seems so simple, though. Seems so simple, especially from our perspective 2,000 years later. But even so, it seems pretty simple for them too. Put the last first. I mean, the basic idea couldn't be more simple. Serve instead of expecting to be served. All right, we get it. Yet once again, the disciples are being so stupid about it. Oh, this just drives me nuts. I don't know about you. It drives me nuts seeing them over and over again. This time, it's James and John in particular. Okay, this time, these two, all right, they have snuck off from the rest of the group to have a word with Jesus alone. Hey, Jesus, don't tell the guys we're asking you this, but Could we call shotgun? Because we really, really want those seats to the right and left of you, next to you in your glory up there in front. Holy moly, seriously, guys. If there's ever been a total facepalm moment, it's right here. Now, much more patient and reasonable than I'm feeling toward those guys right now, Jesus takes the more dignified approach to help them prepare for the future that they don't yet understand, but they will need to be ready for. Explaining that the cup he's going to drink, they're going to have to drink it too. The baptism he's received, they're going to get that baptism too. He knows they don't get it yet, but they will. They will when they see what happens to them. Then Jesus calmly explains that it's not even my call who's going to sit at my right hand and my left. I don't even get to decide that. It's something that's been prepared since long ago. It's not my call. Not only is it something the disciples shouldn't be worried about, but it's something that Jesus couldn't promise them anyway. But wait. Just wait, because this facepalm moment doesn't even stop there. It's not over yet. It doesn't just involve James and John. Here come the rest of the 10 disciples. They realize what James and John have done, that they snuck off to talk to Jesus, to try to call shotgun on those right and left spots next to Jesus, right up there up front. Oh man, these disciples get so mad. What? You guys went behind our backs for those front seats? That's messed up. You know you can't call shotgun like that. You got to wait till you see the car. You can't call it while you're inside. You got to go outside and see that. Once you see the car, then you can call shotgun. You got to follow the rules. Now, I think you should be disqualified for this. There's no way you two are getting those 2 front seats now. Now, I don't know. That's what I'm picturing. All right. Especially when me and my brother used to argue about the front seat back when I was more of a baby about it. I'm still kind of a baby about it, but not like I used to be. Seriously, the image I'm getting in my head in this moment with the disciples is like me going behind my brother's back to talk to my mom. Hey, Mom, it's my turn to get the front seat. Can you make sure I get it? Come on, please. And not unlike Jesus, Mom was able to deal with her 2 bickering children gracefully. But hey, at least I knew what I was asking for. I wanted an actual front seat in the car. The disciples, they don't even know what they're asking for. Yesterday I heard about the situation down at the border between Mexico and Guatemala. Down there in Central America, thousands of people joined together to try to migrate from their home countries, ultimately here to the U.S. And this is a new thing. The usual story of people trying to migrate illegally involves stuff like paying smugglers thousands of dollars. Giving up the deed to your property for this loan to pay that thousands of dollars to go on this crazy trip. Facing all kinds of violence and other dangers in very small groups along the way, trying to avoid detection. Now, this particular group, it was once 3,000 people, but now it has been whittled down to 1,000 people. This particular group, they're stuck on a bridge trying to cross from Guatemala into Mexico. That's the last I saw. The few who have passports will get priority, but the rest, they can apply for asylum one at a time and see what happens. When interviewed, these people say they're looking for work. They want jobs. They want some kind of opportunity, and they're willing to work for it. Now, of course, here in this country, we've got a big panic stirring up about it. In Mexico, they're trying to deal with this crowd of people as orderly as possible. Meanwhile, our government here is expecting Mexico to get this figured out and to not let these people show up on our border like that. Now, and I'm not going in any political direction here, and I don't mean to. You probably already have your views on immigration, and there's already plenty of people out there bickering and breathing fire at one another over this situation. But if there was ever an image of what the least of these look like, of what the last in the world look like, there you go. 1,000 human beings stuck at a border crossing, trying to escape violence and poverty, only to find themselves unwanted by anyone else. A young mother in that crowd on the bridge, holding a baby with no diapers, because she has nothing to buy diapers. She has nothing to put on her baby, bare bottom. And that young mother is crying because her baby has a fever. Her baby didn't have a chance back home, so she left with a mighty exodus of people trying to find hope somewhere else. But now she's stuck with that crowd, crying, holding and comforting her sick baby. That's what it looks like to be the last in this world. And I don't think that's what James and John were asking for. They want the opposite of that. They want to be great by the world's standards. They want to be next to Jesus on that throne of glory. But looking back on this as readers 2,000 years later, we know that in this world, Jesus' throne of glory is the cross. All right? The people who are at his right and left at his throne of glory, those are two bandits who are also being crucified. Being at Jesus' right and left means being with Jesus, with the least of these. Being in the front seat with Jesus isn't as fancy as it sounds. You're going to wind up with the people nobody wants, serving them, even to the point of death. So Jesus tells his disciples, you don't know what you're asking for. Darn tootin', they didn't know what they were asking. Unbeknownst to them, being great in the kingdom of God leads to the cross in this world. That's what Jesus' glory looks like here. That's his royal splendor, battered and bruised, mocked with the purple robe and crown of thorns and a sign above him saying, King of the Jews. Hanging there, dying in front of the world God loves so much, offering up prayers and supplications for the world with his last dying breaths. For the Son of humanity came not to be served, but to serve, to give his life a ransom for many. Put the last first. Sounds simple enough, right? Oh, such a simple teaching we're hearing over and over again. We don't have to hear that again. But to actually do it, it's not that simple. But to actually do it, you'll be part of what comes next, after the cross. You'll be part of the resurrection. You'll be part of the new life God is giving, the hope God is providing, the good news the church is proclaiming. Over and over again we hear it, like, all right, Jesus, we get it already, put the last first. But hopefully this time we actually get it. We actually do it. Because that would be really great.